is destroying an entire generation. I'm including my kids in this.
Romance is just this very cheap card to play when you have nothing else.
But it has one purpose, and it knows that purpose. And that purpose is whatever kid owns it to make that kid happy. That's it.
Welcome to The Pestle, reviewing and breaking down movies to look for insights into the movie-making process. Hosted by Andy and Red. Let's take down the house lights and start the show.
Welcome, everyone, to The Pestle. Today's show is brought to you by Lilypad. Hop in if you're feeling froggy and get connected with your own Lilypad. Welcome, everyone, to The Pestle. I am Wes.
And I am Todd.
And we're filmmakers. We make things. And we like to review films and see how other people are making their things. And hopefully get a little better at the things that we make in the process. And also entertain you with a few thoughts that maybe you haven't had. That's the thing I think I really like about what we're doing is we're not cribbing other people's notes. We're really coming in with our own perspective and going based off of what the movie is on its own face. It's not about I feel like half of YouTube and social media is people recycling other people's ideas and acting like it's their own. Like I see that so much.
Oh, totally.
And it works. Look, if your goal is to drive views, it works. Do that. That's not really our goal necessarily. I mean, we wouldn't mind it, but that's not what really drives us. We really do want to get better and also see what we can learn just from watching a movie. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Like, you were just telling me about a script you were writing, and you know, that's the ultimate of like who you are, right? I mean, you're a culmination of everything, your experiences, you know, the movies you've watched, the books you've read, and all that stuff. But to take that and recycle it through your own mind and then spit it back out is like a whole new thing, and it's a beautiful thing, you know. So
that's the thing we landed on. I don't remember if it was during Obsession or the week after, but the idea was you can take an idea and it be someone else's, but it doesn't mean that you can't recycle it through you. Like an old idea filtered through you makes it a new idea for everyone else. I
mean, the best example I can think of is like when I told you this before. Some of the best music I feel like I ever wrote was when I was trying to write an existing song. Like I'll say, oh man, I love Street Spirit Fade Out by Radiohead. I'm going to write that song. I never, meaning I'm going to try to write that exact song, and it never turns into that. And it always creates other ideas, and you go in different directions, and it turns out to be something completely different. But the idea of taking, it's the idea of taking something that exists and filtering it through your own opinions and ideas and stuff. And then it obviously always turns into something else, you know?
That's so cool. That's really cool. Yeah. I mean, it's a form of play. Yeah. And I think there's a really fun conversation about play that we're about to have. So with that in mind, what are we covering, man?
Today we are covering Toy Story 5, which is just released and in the theaters at the time of recording this film or this podcast. So if you have not seen it, please pause this episode and go watch it, because we're going to spoil all the things. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, we'll cover a handful of things. We'll talk about some of the story and writing, talking about, revealing a character's problem, also talk about play, and other such stuff and things and stuff.
And a quick synopsis of the film. Woody, Buzz, Jessie, and the rest of the gang's jobs are challenged when they're introduced to electronics, a new threat to playtime. It's directed by Andrew Stanton and McKenna Harris. Screenplay by Andrew Stanton and McKenna Harris. It's featuring Joan Cusack as Jessie, Tom Hanks as Woody, Tim Allen as Buzz, Greta Lee as Lilypad, Conan O'Brien as Smarty Pants, Scarlett Spears as Bonnie, and Mykal-Michelle Harris as Blaze.
Dude, we're back. We were glowing, I think, if I remember correctly, over Toy Story 4. Definitely loved it. And here we are back again. Kind of the same team. I think this was Andrew Stanton in both projects, although he had a different co-writer on 4 than he does on 5. And here we are. So I'm curious what your experience was with revisiting Toy Story now with new tech.
There were some really great moments in it for me. I think it's smart to have the protagonist be a pad, because and not like a phone.
Screens are the devil. Yeah.
Yeah, they say screens in general, but I really think screens are different. Like different types of screens are very different. But yeah, for kids now, I think it's not going away, and I like that they didn't shy away from the fact that it exists and it's not going away, and you have to like find a way to live with it, and that was really smart, so that the tech isn't evil. The tech just has a job to do and tries to do it, right? Kind of like how Forky tried to throw himself away all the time, so because that's just what he is. He's trash, right? It's the same way with this. I think they were smart in a lot of ways. I liked the high tech buzzes. I thought that was an interesting, cool touch that when they turned into drones at the end, I was like, oh, that was really cool. I don't know. I totally did not expect that at all. I thought that was cool. I do like that they developed Jessie's story, because I feel like that was never fully addressed, before. She talked about, it, but she still has trauma about it, and so I do like that. I do, though, there's a couple of things. I don't understand why there has to be love stories for toys. Like I get preferring someone and like another toy over others, like, like Buzz with Bo, right? I think that is a great relationship. We never see them kiss.
Yeah.
He loves her and he wants to be with her, but it's not like a romance story necessarily. It is, but not really. But like with Buzz and Jessie, the whole getting married thing, like I don't know. I just didn't like it. Like it seems like when that happens, that the writers or the filmmakers or whatever are trying to humanize the toys a little too much. Right? Because I think that there's a line. I think that the toys can be humanized and like give them voices, give them eyes, give them feelings, give them a mission, give them, like things they have to overcome, internal warring. But there's something that should not be so human, right? And I feel like marriage is something. It's not like I hold it, like in such high regard. It's not like it's the sanctity of. It's more of their main goal is not to be with each other. Their main goal is to be with their kid and there for their kid. That's it. That is their marriage. Right?
Yep.
Our goal is to find our person, and be with our person. Their goal is they've got their person. They need to keep their person, and they need to raise their person. Not Buzz and Jessie getting together. Like, it's just a story. It's like a feel good, thing because we like to see love happen on screen. But I feel like it really takes away. Like, my favorite moment in all of Toy Story has nothing to do with love for one other toy. It's all of them together loving each other, right? And trying to get back to their kid. That's it. There's nothing else. And And so for this, like it was such a core thing, like Buzz trying to get to her because he loved her. And I was like, no, he needs to get her back for Bonnie because Bonnie loves her and he knows she's Bonnie's favorite. Right. And that's why, like, that was always Woody's, like, yes, he was sad that Bo, got taken away or whatever. And it was great that he, whatever. But his only mission was Andy. Like, that was it. That was all. And then that's the other thing. It was like, I didn't really get why. So Bo comes and basically drops Woody off and then leaves. She's like no part of the story. She was a badass in the last one. I want more of that. Like, why did she leave? And then you have, what is it? The boom,
Smarty Pants?
Kaboom. No. The
Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves one.
Yeah.
Duke Kaboom.
Yeah.
I love Duke Kaboom. I love him. Why is he not more in this story? Like, I get that they shift it to Jessie, but why get rid of like two of the coolest freaking characters? I just don't get it. I mean, you have the entire gang, fine, but they're part of the gang now, even if they're outside. Like Woody. I also felt like they kind of shoved Woody in there.
Mm-hmm.
Like in all of the other stories, and I get that this is a new one. But in all of the other stories, it like made sense. They were all together. And I was wondering going into this movie, like, how are they going to bring Woody back? Woody left. And they were far away. They were far away from Bonnie's house. Like they were on a road trip and they had been driving a while. And then they leave Woody at this fair and they drive away. And now Woody is within, walkie-talkie earshot of her house, like that. So it was just, it was a little too much of like suspension of disbelief of how close Woody would be. And it's just like, oh, it's so easy for her to contact Woody. And obviously they keep up with this walkie-talkie thing. There's batteries in it that work. It's always on, apparently. These are things that are like easy to not think about, if you're not looking at it from a filmmaking perspective.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at it from a filmmaking perspective, it's like there just felt like a ton of holes in it. And the other thing is like there were some really emotional, great moments, like when Jessie finds out that her person named her daughter after her. I thought that was just a wonderful moment. I thought it was like a little like too easy that she found it. Oh, she just goes to the tire swing and then digs this thing up, with a horse, which is interesting, an interesting choice there. And then finds this thing, and I thought the moment was really beautiful, and they did a good job of like letting her sit in it.
Yeah.
Letting us sit in it.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't rush away from it. We sat there for several additional seconds and let her just be. And I thought that was really, really beautiful. That was the best part of the movie for me. But it didn't have to be the core where everything led up to this. It just was like, I don't know. I thought it was good. Don't get me wrong, but it was more of the same that we've had in 4 other Toy Stories, but less of the good things that I remember. I mean, my favorite one, spoiler, is Toy Story 3, for a lot of reasons. Notwithstanding, there was care for another toy, but it wasn't like their driving force, right? And if it was, they were a side character almost. So I don't know. I thought that it wasn't what I had hoped, honestly, because I thought, man, this has a lot of potential, because it's poignant, it's timely, we're having a lot of reports coming out about like screens and with kids and how it's affecting kids. It is destroying an entire generation. I'm including my kids in this, but it's also great in a lot of ways. But if kids aren't developed enough to understand that this is something that is entertainment and fun, and then we put it away and we go do something else, then they get sucked into this space that we were never designed to be in, and they don't know how to get out of it. And it's not their fault. It's our fault for not regulating that for them. Because while we had video games growing up and we had TV, we didn't have phones that we carried around with us and stared at and scrolled all day, every day. But anyway, so I think it's very timely and it's important. It's an important story. And I think they do a pretty good job with an 8-year-old of showing how damaging that it can be. I think that a couple of things. One, like if I was an advisor on this film, and I'll stop here in a second, but if I was an advisor on this film, I would say, yes, okay, this is great to have a moment where kids are mean to her. Sure. I think that's super important. I think it's also important to show dysregulation in her. And they start to do that. There's moments where she yeah, right. She's just in it, but she needs to change. Her personality needs to change. She needs to be mad or mean after staring at it for an hour or 2 hours, and her parents ask her to turn it off or tell her to turn it off. And because that happens, that is like a huge thing that happens. And I think that would hit the audience a little bit as well. It's just like a different angle of it. So there's that. But then there are smart things, like when they use the gecko's hand to touch the screen because they're toys. Yeah. It's not going to work. I think that was like super smart, and most people would not think of that. I think it was great. I think let's unplug her. I think that was smart too. But in terms of character work, I just wasn't totally sold. I mean, my favorite character in the whole thing was Smarty Pants. I thought Conan O'Brien just killed it, and he was hilarious, especially when he was, power drunk at the very beginning when he was like low on battery. Yeah. I was like, oh, this guy is my favorite guy. Please keep him in the rest of the movie. And they do, so, I feel like I'm shitting on it, and I'm not trying to. It just could have been, Toy Story caliber, I hold really high. And so it's hard to, own up to that or reach that. But, I can forgive a lot, and I feel like I had to, a little too much on this film. So yeah, I don't know. What did you think?
Dude, honestly,
we came into this not having any idea what the other thought.
And honestly, walking out of it, I was like, oh man, I'm nervous. But hearing your review is a relief, honestly, because I didn't love it the same way I've loved all the others. And I think you really helped me understand some of the things that I didn't love about it, because I've been struggling to kind of put my finger on where I think it went wrong, because overall this just wasn't as charming as the others. Like there was a lot less, I don't know, the jokes and the gags, they all feel very reheated and unoriginal, and unspecific to these characters in these environments. It just feels like, let's draw up some generic stuff here. And my favorite parts were really with Blaze and Bonnie. Those are the moments that really spoke to me and felt honest. And that hasn't traditionally been really the way these movies work. We appreciate some of those little glimpses into the kid, but it's really the toys that we're there for. And it just wasn't, and this just felt like we're trying to get from one thing to the next. It felt so, I don't know, plot heavy. There was just something lacking with how all the connective tissue worked. I never felt the ingenuity behind the toys doing their thing. You're talking about how Woody and whoever end up lost, and he gets found, in Toy Story 4. And that's a whole adventure of getting back to the kids, which is like pretty much all the movies. I don't remember 2 all that well, but part 1 is about getting from the pizza joint or whatever, getting back home. That's a whole story. Like there's all these really interesting, and here, to your point, man, it just kind of happens every time. It just kind of, here you go. And you're, there suddenly. And I didn't really, I will say, I thought I didn't have the same issue with the Woody being out of pocket or being in a whole other town. I think that's a fair, thing to bring up, but I also think they did a nice job of, we're not going to even address it. They just appear, and you know what? If it's out of sight, out of mind, I'm okay with that, because there's a certain amount of toy factor, and they had the RC Pro thing, and they just took a road trip. Well, okay. But
good point. In
my mind, it was literally, I'd forgotten it was in a whole other town. In my mind, it was like the park, down the road, and it's really truly not. But they played it so well that because I think they were on walkie-talkies, and I know that kid's walkie is not traveling 20 miles to another town, let's say, generously. And so I just thought, yeah, they were within walkie range, and therefore it makes sense that they could RC Pro. Yeah, but once you step back and actually analyze it, it definitely falls apart. But within the flow of the movie, it plays, pretty seamless.
Totally.
But I think you hit on a couple of things that I was just like, yes, that is what was wrong. And one of them is the romance. I think you are 100% correct. It played well enough for me in Toy Story 4, because there was something else that they were getting at with that. It wasn't it was about Woody and Bo, but it was also about what it represented of Woody's time coming to an end in that environment. And Bo was just an avenue for something else. It wasn't as much as it was about getting with Bo, it was really about letting someone else be the favorite toy. And he needed to get out. And so the story with Bo made it okay for us, the audience, to see him leave the other toys. That was an avenue, a means to an end. And here, the romance makes no sense. It's not a means to an end, in the same way, because it doesn't, and this is what I think is important, as a subplot, it doesn't sync with the main plot. It felt like we're just going to give Buzz something to do. We need to have him doing something. He's in love with Jessie, and they need to get together. Great. We have something for him to do. Now we have something for Woody to have some conflict. Now we have this kind of manufactured conflict between these two characters that will drive a little tension and then give us a little resolution. And it just didn't really make a lot of sense. I didn't love the Buzz fleet. I liked the reveal of the drone stuff. I thought that played well. But honestly, and maybe this is where I only watched it once, so maybe there's something I'm forgetting, but they felt like a big ex machina to just kind of save the day. I don't remember there playing any other role. I thought, because of the influence of screens, the Buzz Lightyears are going to be an avenue for all the other kids to suddenly have their own toy and to suddenly have an ability to play in a way that they're not playing now. So I thought they were coming to the rescue for the neighborhood. And when that didn't flower, I was like, oh, okay. Wait, so they were really just here to save everyone. Oh, I will say, I think it kind of works because of how much time we spend with those guys, right? We open this whole movie on them as castaways, right? Tom Hanks, on this island, and then they escape on a raft, just like Castaway and all that kind of thing. There's that whole element, and then we're watching them get to a shipping yard, and then I don't know, have their own little adventure, but it doesn't really make any sense. There's no real, I don't know, thematic payoff with those guys that I think would have given it a cohesiveness. And that's what I think is missing from this whole story is it's not cohesive. It's a bunch of parts that don't add up to more than the sum. And I think that's what bothered me and why I felt so bored, because we get to the end and there isn't that sense of rightness. It was just like, oh, we connected two friends, and that happened through this technology that can have a function if you allow it. And I think that was kind of the point there was kind of sort of made. But I don't know. It just didn't feel fully jibing with everything else that was in the story. It felt like there's just a lot of loose Legos left in our like Ewok village that we built.
Yeah, I mean, the end credits scene where they fly into the.
Okay, I didn't see the end credits.
But okay, well, remember when they drop off the toy? They drop off Buzz and Woody and Jessie and stuff at Bonnie's, and then Woody or Buzz says, "Now, remember what I told you. Go."
And then
what
they
you
fly
away,
do
and we
now.
don't see anything. Yeah. And I remember I leaned over to Simon because we were seeing it with Simon, and I was like, there has to be an end credit scene because they haven't closed that loop. Buzz told them to go do something, and we don't know what it is. The end credit scene is there's a park and kids are all like on their screen, and there's teachers like scrolling or whatever, and all of the buzzes just like fly down and like land with each kid and each person and stuff. And
so literally the thing I was wanting.
Yeah. And I liked that. That, but I feel like that it would have been better if that was part of the actual story and not like an afterthought in an end credit scene. And we would have saved an end credit scene for something that was a little bit more fun instead of like the message. Like you have like a message or like a purpose for a character. It's kind of like, why would you use that for an end credit scene? Like, I don't know, like put it in the story. I feel like.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad I left. I wasn't sure why everyone was still in their seats when I left, but I didn't care enough to find out. And so I was like, I'm outie.
Yeah, well.
But okay, good. So they kind of did the thing that I was expecting. But to your point, that does make more sense in the flow of the movie. Like show that, because right now, as the movie really ends, Bonnie and Blaze are in their own cocoon when we really should have seen the neighbor twins snap out of it and join the play. It should have been about expanding play for everyone. And instead, it's just Bonnie and Blaze made their friendship, and the mean girls were still living in their own little zombie, and it would have been much more, I don't know, cohesive to bring all those kids in together to play together and to demonstrate this is so much more satisfying and healthy for kids in a group. You have to deal, and man, play as a kid is so important. And specifically, not just play, but unstructured, unsupervised play. Mm-hmm. You cannot have a referee telling kids the right and wrong way to play. This is a fundamental aspect of living life that we learn as kids, which is how to negotiate with each other, how to resolve conflict, how to create and play yes and. Like there are so many functions, how to give, how to share. Like play isn't just something that happens, and it's not something that you can show a kid to do continually. You can introduce an idea, and then you have to see what they do with that idea. It's exercising the brain. It's exercising social, bartering, and all kinds of the way we interact throughout the rest of our life. And if you're not learning those skills as a kid through play, you're wrecking yourself. And we really needed to see that aspect come out, because one kid playing with one other kid doesn't really show you the dynamics of play. Like it's a function, it's a version, and it's an important version, but playing on a playground with 5 other kids, whole other social animal. And if you don't know what it's like to be the cool kid, and if you don't know what it's like to be the picked on kid, and we've all been that kid, each one of those, in different groups, and you have to experience that over and over again through different groups, through your chosen group, through your unchosen group. Like whenever you're at play in school, you're playing with whoever's out there, and you don't get to pick. It's just your classmates.
Yeah.
And all of that is so important, and I think they really missed an opportunity to introduce a lot of those aspects and ideas whenever you're saving that kind of thing for an end credit scene that I skipped out on.
Yeah.
But yeah, that aside though, like I think there's just so much that wasn't cohesive about the way they were creating these subplots. And oh man, and maybe this is me really about to like ostracize myself, but I love Joan Cusack, but her voice felt wrong for Jessie for some reason.
Right. Same. I don't remember it being like that because she's always played Jessie.
Yeah.
I don't remember it being like that even from Toy Story 2 when she was introduced. Like, it just felt like she was older or something. I don't know.
It felt like a voice actor playing a character that they weren't the right fit for. Like, I don't know, the words are a little less articulate than I expected from a cartoon, and maybe specifically from the Jessie character. And yeah, I don't know. It just felt off, and I was like, I don't know. I feel like I'm seeing too much of the sausage being made and not enough of just flowing in with all the characters. And so that kind of took me out a little bit. And going back to the point of like, everything just feels a little too easy. You made a point about the horse digging, but the animals overall were just seamlessly helping without any conflict. It really felt like they were just helping everyone along. I don't know if they ever really earned the right to use the animals. The animals just were there instead of, I feel like in past movies, like every animal was a bit of an obstacle. And you had to figure out how to harness the animal, right? Jimmy Dean suddenly just digging up Jessie and taking her into the house. I was just like, okay, that was a little easy.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing I was going to say is like I feel like we're shitting on it, but we have to like say things. Most of the time, a story like this with so many characters needs to be not so complicated in terms of something else. And in the best versions of a Toy Story, it's locations, meaning few locations. So even in Toy Story 4, where they're not like at home, most of it happens in a fairground, or like in or around a fairground in one area. We feel the area. We know where we are. In Toy Story 3, most of it happens in a nursery, a kid's nursery. 90% of it happens there, right? In Toy Story 2, it's either at Andy's or it's across the street. You know, yes, there's a part where they go to Pizza Planet, but then they come back. It's like there's these centered places, and in this one, there's so many places that we are. We're at Bonnie's, we're at Blaze's, we're at the kid's her friend's house. We're like in I just feel like there's no central kind of like home. It's almost like a road trip story, it feels like. But because there's so many characters and they're all in different places at the same time, it feels so disconnected. I mean, we can have multiple settings, don't get me wrong, multiple locations, but when all of the toys are together, it feels like home, you know? So like on the road trip, all of the toys are in the RV in Toy Story 4. So we feel like we're home because they're all together. But here, not only do we have multiple locations, but they're all separated. And so I feel separated, and the coming back, the coming home doesn't really, I still feel like my heart or something is at Blaze's house, right? Which is where Jessie's old house, right? But we're not there anymore. We're at Bonnie's. And I just, it feels fragmented to me location wise, and like there's too much. You can't have a core, like core characters doing something in one place, and then another core character doing something in another place, and another core character doing something in another place, and then feel connected unless you're really good and you know what you're doing about that. And I'm not saying they don't know what they're doing, but I'm saying that might have been something that was overlooked of like, how do we make this feel cohesive even though we're in 4 places at the same time? We're cutting to here, we're cutting to there, we're cutting to here. And it just didn't land for me. I felt like I couldn't connect to one space with these characters long enough because we're always going to cut away after a few minutes to somewhere else.
Yeah, I think you're spot on, and it's pointing back to the fundamental problem of they didn't know the exact story they were trying to tell. And I think you can see that reflected in all these subplots. Like, what is our real root problem? Because they end up making it about technology. That's not where we started, right? The start was she was too shy to make friends. And that's a great place to start. And we see that immediately happen with the twins, the next door neighbors, where she goes out and she tries to meet them, and she's too shy and maybe too weird, according to everyone else. Now, they did a great job of setting up 2 things. 1, why is she the weird kid? And 2, let's make it harder, even harder, for someone who's shy to connect by throwing up technology to facilitate both of those things. She's now getting sucked in like everyone else, and it's just creating more problems because who she really isn't a kid who likes tech. She's a kid who's using tech to try to fit in where she doesn't. And so the solution is to embrace your weird, right? That's what they're really trying to get at. I don't know that they do a great job of selling it, but it's decent. It's in there for sure. And she finds another weird kid, and I do love that. I like that. It's giving kids permission to be weird and to play with toys, right? Because the heroes are the weird kids, so weird is cool, and the weird cool kids are playing with toys, and so it's definitely giving these aspirational vibes. But okay, however you want to frame that thematically, as toys are for play, and this is a quote from earlier in the movie. Toys are for play, and play is how she'll find the right friend. If we want to say that's our theme, right? You find friends through play. You play through toys. That's something you can kind of work with. It's a little loosey-goosey, and maybe there's a tighter framing, but okie dokie. Well, okay, I don't know how that's really reflected through the romance subplot or through Jessie getting lost, and through maybe Jessie's backstory of being lost, or of being discarded by her first owner. Like, I don't know that those things come very strongly through this idea of making friends through play. Like, how does Jessie being thrown away by her owner reflect that? Instead, it shows that Jessie did serve a good function and she was loved. But I don't see how being loved is at all in harmony with the other thematic elements that Bonnie is relating to with her toys. It doesn't make... it's not strong. Whatever it is, whatever excuse you're going to throw at me, it's not very strong and plain on its face, which is problem. Same thing with the romance subplot. And Woody and Buzz having their conflict. I don't see that as a strong reflection of making play through friends or making friends through play either. Like, they don't end up learning how to play together. They just end up learning to respect each other. Or Woody learns to respect Buzz.
And I'm sorry, at this point, they already should know and respect each other. Like all the stuff they've been through. So like the fact that like Woody's like here, I'll go, you stay here to Buzz. Why would he wouldn't do that. He knows that he left Buzz in charge.
Yep.
Or not Buzz, but he left Jessie in charge and Buzz to help, right? He knows that. He wouldn't do that if he didn't trust Buzz. And yet he's going to try to take over. The motivation is really slacking in these new versions. And I just want to, they'll probably make another one because it's doing really well at the box office. It always does, right? It always does. But there has to be a moment where you just are like, okay, this is it. We're done. Like it would have been really nice, the ending last time, for it to be it. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying I don't like to revisit these characters. Of course I do. But if you're gonna like unmotivate them from what they've been motivated for the last 20 years, why I don't want you to keep doing that.
Yeah,
like
romance is just this very cheap card to play when you have nothing else.
Yeah, great point.
We've been watching this in TV shows since the beginning. It's when all else fails, create a new romance subplot. And then it gives people a will they, won't they vibe. And that keeps us interested because we're social animals and we all like falling in love. And you're never going to make people bored with that. But whenever you start violating the premise of your world, you are going to start just creating stuff. They just created stuff. Toy Story 5 is just stuff.
Yeah, it's a great point. It's a great way to say it. Yeah.
You completely neglected to honor the reason these toys are alive. Mm-hmm. They come alive, not for their own desires, but to your original point, like they come alive to make kids happy. And they were still trying to facilitate that. Like, I liked that Lilypad wasn't a narcissist. Like, she really did care about Bonnie. And she even tried to throw herself away when she was like, I'm not a good fit. That was really cool. But by and large, characters, these toys are now starting to get a little too much of their own vision for their life. That's
what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what the whole Buzz Jessie marriage thing. Like, mm-hmm. What? Why do they have these worldly tie downs of this idea of marriage? Why do they have that? Like, this is a man-made object that has one purpose. That's it. And yes, it should, of course, I'm putting my own like feelings on what a toy should feel, whatever. But it has one purpose and it knows that purpose. And that purpose is whatever kid owns it to make that kid happy.
Yeah.
That's it. And that's why the first ones were so good, because Woody just would go to the end of the earth for his kid.
Yeah.
He would do anything. And we felt like that was all the feeling. The feeling wasn't, oh, I love Bo. Or the feeling wasn't, oh, I love Jessie, or Jessie loves me. I think even in the third one, she kisses Buzz or something like that. And I was just like, okay. Uh-huh. But it was, everything revolves around my kid. And as parents, you're like, that's amazing. That's an amazing story to give my kids. And as a kid, you're looking at your toys differently now. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But if I see that Buzz loves Jessie, I'm looking at my toys. Does, my RC car love my tablet now? I don't know. It's not, it's too much. It's, not beneficial.
Yeah.
I would say.
Anyway. The fun parts of this movie I thought were toys being used incorrectly. Like that's really fun to watch. Smarty
Great
Pants become like a dance partner, and to make a villain out of whatever. That's really entertaining, and it's cute, and it's honest. Like that is how kids like to play, and I thought they nailed that and really showed a different way of thinking about how technology can be used and inserted into our lives. Like it doesn't always have to be, so stare and zombified. Like maybe there's a different way to insert some of these things, and use them for their best use cases. I don't know. I think the things that I like are just so helter-skelter. Like they're just so scattered, that I walked out very indifferent overall. Although the moments that hit, they really hit. Like they know how to create and generate a moment. The stuff between Bonnie and Blaze, fan-freaking-tastic. I was locked in for sure during those moments, but I just found myself wandering so much between, let's get from point A to point B. Okay, we're at point B. It's time to get to point C. And, sure. Okay. I just didn't care about any of it. I didn't care about almost anyone. And that got exhausting. So that's it. That's all I got. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. It was a good excuse to go to the theater. I think that it had some good points that it raised. I think that things like tech isn't going anywhere, so we have to learn how to teach our kids how to use it in the right way and how to moderate it. I think that that's super important, and that play is still the most important thing, like actual play, physical play, and learning how to engage with other people. I think that was good. And then how to respond to bullying, online bullying. I think that was good too. But in terms of like character development, I was just like, kind of like blah, not really, it didn't take me anywhere necessarily, except for that one moment when Jessie realized that her owner had named her daughter after her. I thought that was like a wonderful moment, and they lived in that pretty well. But other than that, I don't know. I would probably give it like a 6 out of 10, 3 out of 5, whatever.
I think that's fair. I think that's where I'm at. Nice.
Yeah.
What are you going to recommend this week?
This week I'm going to recommend Toy Story 3. Because like if you want, it's the only one that I cry every single time I watch it. And it has to do with, and that's the other thing, like the music didn't really hit me this time. And I expected it to, because like in Toy Story 3, it was huge. Like it was like a massive part of the story. But every time I watch it, I cry. I think it's super motivated. I think that the setting was great. I think that the character development was awesome. They used really interesting and fun aspects about the toys in it. And, I think it's my favorite out of all of them. For sure.
Easily. I'm going to recommend Flow. If you haven't watched Flow, God, it's so good. I mean, it's impressive because it was built using free animation software. That's
incredible.
Just astounding. And it's good, but it's genuinely good. Like, I know that's the big headline around that movie, but really it's just a well-written and executed film where there's almost no dialogue. I don't know if there is any, actually. But if there is, it's so background and random. It's just good. You're watching pets trying to survive a flood. Maybe not even pets is the right word, animals. And it's thrilling, heartbreaking, and yeah, highly recommend it. And yeah, stay tuned for next week. We're going to take a look, go back to the 90s at Sofia Coppola's, I don't remember if it was her first movie, but it was certainly one of her early ones. It's called The Virgin Suicides. We're going to take a look at that. We're going to see a lot of talented actors in their earlier years. So yeah, take a look at The Virgin Suicides and join us for that. And if you're enjoying the show, don't forget to subscribe, drop us a review, and leave us a note. If you want to comment on this episode, you can do that at thepestlepodcast.com/Toy Story 5.
And yeah, you gotta quote Mr. Rogers, right? So this is a quote of the day is from Mr. Rogers. Play is often talked about as if it were a relief from serious learning, but for children, play is serious learning. Play is really the work of childhood. I could not agree more, man. I mean, it's like you said in the beginning, it's how you learn to interact with the world, with other people, how to learn to negotiate, how to learn to be sacrificial, to sacrifice what you want for others, and yeah, how to be a person. Agreed.
Huge. Yeah, no one's done it better. Teaching kids how to play and to enjoy it and not be afraid. God, Mr.
Agreed.
Rogers, man.
Agreed. Yeah, man. Great quote. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. Hopefully you had a good time listening to this. Hopefully you agree. If you don't, let us know. I guess, I don't know. But if there's please subscribe, review us wherever you get your podcasts. And if there's a film you'd like to see us talk about, let us know. Maybe we'll cover it one day. But until next time, I'm Todd.
I'm Wes.
Go watch some movies.
He's coming.